Hey you guys, so today's video is going to be an everyday summer look, and I wanted to do something that's super glowy. I posted a photo on Instagram a few weeks back of my glowy summer foundation routine, and a lot of people said that you wanted to see a video on it. So this is pretty much exactly what I did for that photo, but I also added a different lip color, so there's going to be two different lip options for this look. So this video is mostly going to be a skin focus video. I am going to go into the eyes as well, but I wanted the focus to be on the skin, and I know the highlight might look a little bit intense, but I just wanted to show you guys that it is possible to get a super glowy look for pale skin. So if you guys want to know how to get this look, then just keep watching. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to use my Pixi Skin Treats Glotion Day Dew, and this is a brightening lotion, but it's also kind of a moisturizer as well. So I'm just going to pump out like one pump on the back of my hand. Sometimes I use a little bit more, depending on how glowy I want my face to look. And it smells like lavender. Oh, it smells so good. And sometimes I'll even mix a little bit of this in with my foundation, but if I use too much, you know, it can tend to go a little bit overboard. So you don't really need to wait too long for that to settle into your skin, but I just like to kind of fan my face a little bit so it's not super tacky when I put on my foundation. But after like a minute or so of letting it dry, I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal True Match Lumi, and this is in the shade W1/2 Porcelain Light Ivory. And I've used this foundation a couple times, or I've mentioned it a couple times on my channel so far, but this is one of my favorite new foundations. It's so nice, and it's not super luminous where you look greasy all day, but it just gives your face a really nice glow. So I pump about 1.5 pumps onto the back of my hand, and then I just go in with my finger. I'm so glad, by the way, that you guys probably, hopefully, couldn't see the mess that was happening on my chin today, because I mean, what else is new? I decided to try the Cetaphil Gentle Skin Cleanser, but man, it like broke my skin out on my chin so bad. I woke up this morning, which was my second time using it last night, and I had like a clusterfuck of 10 whiteheads on my chin, so it's just great. Anyways, I'm just taking this foundation and bouncing it across my face with my Beauty Blender. I really like how this foundation feels on the skin though. It's so light. And I'd say it's like medium coverage, so it's not going to cover everything up, which is fine. So I always change up my concealer routine, and I always use like 2 or 3 different ones at once, because for some reason I think that different concealers do different things better than others. So for instance, this Anastasia concealer in 0.5, I really like to use this just the tiniest amount. This is a really thick paste, so I just barely like tap my finger in there. And I will apply this directly into this first half of my under eye area where it's the darkest, because this is the lightest, palest concealer that I have that doesn't get super cakey under the eye. So I'm just dabbing this out with my pinky, and it just kind of instantly brightens up that area. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on this side. And now I'm just kind of lightly blending that out with my Beauty Blender to prevent any creasing. So I'm going to take my MAC Prolonger Concealer in NC15. I thought I was completely out of this for the longest time, and I kept it for some reason, but turns out there actually was a little bit left just chilling in there. So I'm going to take about 1 pump on my hand and pretty much just place this underneath my eyes where I didn't put the Anastasia concealer. So I'm going to kind of highlight with this, but I also like to just conceal a little bit further down because I do have some redness at the tops of my cheeks sometimes. And then I just take whatever's left over on my finger and bring it down my nose. And actually I'm starting to like this concealer for spot concealing, so I'm just going to take the littlest, tiniest amount, put that on some spots that I have going on. I guess I should probably just pile this on my chin since there's a nice little family of zits down there. And then just on my forehead a little bit. And now I'm just going to take the Beauty Blender and blend it out. And as I'm blending out this under eye area, I'm just going to take whatever is left over on the Beauty Blender and run it really gently over my eyes just to cancel out any redness or discoloration that I have. Alright, so I'm just going to go in with some setting powder now, and I'm taking my Shiro Cosmetics Fatality Finishing Powder, and I'm using my Real Techniques, what is this, Duo Fiber Contour Brush. I can never remember the name of this. I always think it's a setting brush, but it's not. And I'm just going to take the tiniest amount. This is a loose powder, so you have to be very careful that you don't load up too much on the brush. And I know in most of my tutorials to set my under eye concealer, I'll actually take the powder on the Beauty Blender, but that can tend to make your face look matte really fast. So I like to work with smaller brushes when I'm going for a more glowy look so that it doesn't really take up too much space on my face and it doesn't really give my overall face a matte look. So I'm just going to focus this right underneath my eye. I'm just going to pat it down there. So I'm not dragging it down all the way down here where I put the concealer, I'm just keeping it right here under my eye. And I also, while I'm at it, just like to sweep this over my lid, and this is kind of going to act like a base eyeshadow, so the other colors are going to blend well over the top of it. I'm also going to apply this right here in my laugh line area because that always creases no matter what. And then also going to place a little bit just on my chin where I have that little problem area. Okay, so I've powdered most of the areas of my face that I wanted to powder just to make sure that they're not going to crease, and I still have that glow coming out from the foundation because I didn't put that powder all over my face. So I'm actually going to pop into the Anastasia Fair Cream Contour Kit really quickly, and I'm going to take this shade over here, which is the lightest, kind of most cool toned cream contour in the palette. Even though this is a cream product, they're pretty dry if you don't add some kind of oil to it, so I like to use 100% pure organic argan oil. I just got this off Amazon for like $9, I think. And what I do is I just take one drop and I put that in the pan. I'm going to put some in the other ones too, just in case I end up using those. And then the brush I'm going to use is the Smith 124. This is their angled contour brush. And by the way, I know I don't cream contour a lot, like I actually rarely ever do it, but like I've been saying when I do these more glowy looks, I like to stray away from most of the powder products, so the more creams I can use, the better. Alright, so I'm just going to start at the top of my ear, and I'm going to angle a line down towards my mouth, but I'm only going to make it about 1.5 inches or maybe 2 inches long. And then I actually like to take a different brush to blend it out. This is the Smith 115. This is actually their foundation brush, but I really like to use this to softly buff the cream contour upwards. Just going in circular motions really, really softly until it's nice and blended. And then I also like to go over that with the fat side of the Beauty Blender just to blend it in a little bit more. I'm not really sure why, but for some reason if I only use this shade on my forehead, it looks kind of just like I rubbed dirt all over my forehead, so I like to take a mix of that and this one and that one. So kind of just all of the above. And I just do this in kind of little stripey motions like that, and then blend out as I go. And I like to only do like half of my forehead at a time. If I have this product on for too long, it kind of dries out a little bit and it's a little bit harder to blend. And you want to make sure you really push this back into your hairline so you don't have like a strip of skin color before your hair starts, because that looks pretty weird. And once again, just kind of take my Beauty Blender and bounce this off of this area so there's no harsh lines. It doesn't look like I just have a weird halo of contour on my head. Alright, so that's it. Not going to do it on my jaw or nose or anything like that. I basically just wanted to add more warmth to my face. And I think I'm also going to be using a powder bronzer too, just a tiny, tiny bit. And the bronzer I'm going to be using is the Bahama Mama by The Balm. And it's not super orange, but it actually does look pretty flattering to add warmth to your skin if you have pale skin, which is kind of hard to find without, you know, being completely orange. And when I'm using bronzer, I like to use a brush that's not too dense. I like to use one that has a little bit of flexibility to it. And the brush that I really like is the Multitask brush by Real Techniques. I'm just going to take the tiniest amount, and I mean like I'm barely tapping it in there, and then tapping off the excess. I'm just going to start applying this over that contour, but I'm bringing it up a little bit too, almost like in the blush area. And I know sometimes it can be really tricky to add powder on top of a cream product and expect it to blend out really nicely, but I'm just working in really, really small buffing motions and small amounts, so I can just build it up if I need to. Also going to extend this up across my forehead and to my temple. Alright, so I didn't want to go too crazy with the bronzer because the main focus of this is going to be the highlight, and I'm so excited to do this part because I'm using two of my favorite new highlighters. And just before I get started on the highlighting, you definitely don't need to be using two different kinds. I just wanted to use these two because I get really excited when I find highlighters that are really nice and bright and actually look really good on pale skin, and I'm sure these will look really good on just deeper, darker skin tones too. Anyways, this first one is by Danessa Myricks. Her brand is I Make You Beautiful, and this is one of the In Light Illuminators in the color Aura of Light. And I just take whatever is in the lid, and I'm just going to apply this right on my cheekbones. Just start with a little bit at first and then build it up if I need to. It's so pretty. And then I'm also just taking a tiny amount on this brush that we used earlier, and I'm going to apply this on the sides of my forehead to get that glow up there. And then just a little bit on the bridge of my nose and the tip. And then a little bit on my Cupid's bow as well. This is not how much highlighter I would wear on a day-to-day basis. Actually, maybe it is. I don't know. You guys know me. But when you're going for the glow, go big or go home. Sometimes I like to take my Beauty Blender and even just go over the highlighter a little bit. If it's looking a little bit too strong, that's a good tip. Alright, next up is the highlighter that you guys 100% need in your life. This is the new Ofra Beverly Hills highlighter, and I know I've mentioned this on my channel before, but I can't. I can't get over it. And I have had a couple people asking me what the difference is between this and the older one that I used to use. This is the Illuminating Blush Stripes. When you look at them, they look very similar. It's like, okay, well, obviously they just repackaged it. That's actually what I thought when I first got it, but after swatching them, this one is way more intense, way more pigmented, way more soft and smooth. The colors are pretty similar, and you guys know that I used to go into this white one all the time. Obviously, it's like almost hitting pan right there. And even though that looks like it's like a stark white, this little wedge right here, you can see just from the swatches that it's a lot more intense. So that is the main difference in these, just the formula. So like always, I do have a 30% off discount code. It's just Kayla Hagee, my name, if you wanted to get this. So most of the time I like to kind of swirl this around and get all the different colors, or I'll focus just on these three over here, the lightest ones. But since we're going for a super, super highlighted, glowy face, I'm just going to take the tiniest amount of that white. If you load up too much on your brush, it's going to look ridiculous. So just the tiniest bit. See, there's already so much, but it looks so good. And I'm only going to focus that on my cheekbones, just on that tiny little area right there, because sometimes that can look a little bit too intense on the rest of the face. And I am going to pop on just a little bit of blush, but I don't want anything too pink or too colorful, so I'm using Cherish by Makeup Geek. And I'm just going to apply this in between the bronzer and the highlight. And then I'm just going to take my MAC Fix Plus, and I'm just going to give my face a few squirts of this. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my eyes and my brows now, and then I'm actually going to be trying some new brow products that I haven't really used too much. I've used them a few times. These are the Pony Cosmetics Main Stains. They're basically just like the Anastasia Dip Brow, but these are a lot creamier and a lot smoother. So I'm going to start with this shade, which is number 1, and I think it's called Little Palomino. I love their names, they're so cute. And I'm just taking this on the Smith Cosmetics 203 brush, and I'm just taking the tiniest amount of that product and just starting to work this through the beginning of my brows. I always like to start at the bottom and kind of feather it upwards. Okay, so I'm stopping at the tail. I'm not going to fill it in. I'm going to use a darker color for that area. So now I'm going to go into the shade number 4, Chestnut, which is a darker brown, and it's a little bit more on the warm side. And I'm going to be using this on the tail portion of my brows just to fill those in, and I'm also going to blend this in towards the outer half of my brow just to blend it in with that lighter color, so it's more of a subtle gradient look. So I'm going to go into my old and trusted Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek, and I'm taking this on a Smith 232, and I'm just going to blend this back and forth into the crease. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you'll know that this is one of my favorite transition colors. Then I'm going to take a mix of these two, Creme Brulee and then Latte. This is on the Smith 247 blending brush. I'm just going to apply these to the outer V area of the eye and then blend it in a little bit to the crease. So not all the way across, but just, I don't know, maybe a third of the way. And I'm just blending these out with that bigger blending brush that we first used. So now I'm going to take my Smith 256 and I'm going to spray this with a little bit of Fix Plus. And I'm going to go into one of my foiled eyeshadows by Makeup Geek. This is called Starry Eyed. It's a really, really pretty, almost like a soft pink shimmery color. I'm just going to lay this down on the lid. And I wanted to use a lid color that looked almost kind of like the highlight on my face, and this is pretty close. It's not as shimmery or bright, but it is really, really nice. And then I'm just going to go back in with Creme Brulee and Latte and just apply a little bit more over that outer part. And then I'm also going to extend these colors down underneath my lower lash lines. Alright, I'm going to start with Peach Smoothie, and this is on the Smith 230 brush. And I'm just going to kind of wipe, that is such a gross word for applying eyeshadow. Going to blend this all the way across the lower lash line. And then I'm going to take this brush by Smith, which is the 220. It's a really soft, flat brush. I'm going to take Latte and a little bit of Creme Brulee again, and just blend this across. So one of my favorite eyeshadows to highlight the inner corner of my eyes is the Thunderstruck by Kat Von D. It's one of the Metal Crush eyeshadows. I'm just going to dab that on with my pinky. I'm also going to blend it just a little bit onto the lid, maybe like the inner fourth or so it blends onto that lid color. So moving on to liner, I'm not going to do a wing or anything like that, but I am going to wear false lashes, so I'm just going to do a really quick line with my Kat Von D Trooper ink liner. So before I go in with my fake lashes, I'm just going to pop on some mascara really quickly. This is my favorite new mascara. I know I've said so many times that I just like drugstore mascara and I don't care about the higher end ones. Man, proved myself wrong. This is the Makeup Forever Excessive Lash. I don't know if this is out yet. They sent this to me. I'm assuming it's out, but if not, sorry. I'll link it down below though if it is available. I think this mascara looks really good on its own and it makes my lashes look nice and full, but I am going to go in with some falsies, and these are the Sweet Romance by House of Lashes. They're actually really, really natural looking, so when they're on, it doesn't really even look too much like you're wearing a big fake eyelash. So I'm just going to add some mascara to my lower lashes really quickly, and this mascara is my favorite for lower lashes. It just makes them so long. They almost might look a little bit spidery, but I actually like it. So I'm going to move on to my lips, and I'm going to start out with a nude one first, and then I'm going to give you guys another option that's a little bit more fun. So I'm going to use my JCat Beauty lip liner in the color So Fawn of You. So I'm going to line my lips, and then I'm going to actually fill in just the outer corners of them to make like an ombre effect. And then over the top of that, I'm going to be applying Melt Nude, which is a really, really nice light peachy nude. And then the second option is going to be one of my favorite new lipsticks. This is one of these Smashbox Always On liquid lipsticks, and this is in the color Thrill Seeker. It's a really, really pretty burnt orange color with a little bit of red to it as well. I just think this color is so cool, and it'll look good on every skin tone. So that is what that looks like with the orange lip. Let me know what lip color you guys like best. I think I like this one more. I don't know. I just like a little bit more of a bold color when I'm doing more of a neutral look on my eyes. But yeah, let me know which one was your favorite, and thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I just really quickly wanted to say thank you guys for being patient with me. I know I haven't been uploading as often as I usually do. Our wedding is in less than a month now, which is crazy. I cannot believe it. So obviously we've been having some stuff that we had to get done recently, and like this last month up until the wedding is just going to be batshit crazy. And I've just had like a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff like that too, so that's what I've been doing with my life, and I just feel like I haven't really had the time to just sit down and do a video, but it feels really good to be back to it. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!